All right, here we go. Yes, it is the Morning Night Live in the afternoon. There's my face. Turn that music down. Holy crap, is that loud? Okay, there we go. Hey, everybody. Happy afternoon on Friday of Martin Luther King Day. Friday, Monday, something like that. It's the Morning Night Live in the afternoon. Part 2 of what we started this morning because I had way too much stuff to talk about. And I really didn't want to just let it all go. Even though I don't have a ton of time to do this afternoon, I'm doing it anyway. Because, stop that music. I'll just stop it. Yeah, because that's what I do. So, we've got some stuff that I missed this morning, and then we got some stuff that's new this afternoon, and I'll just get to it as I get to it. Are you ready? Shall we? 1, 2, 3, and Johnny, play the intro, please.
Ladies and gentlemen, coming to you live from the Lucky Dog studio in a hidden location somewhere in the upper Midwest of the United States of America, it's a brother making his own way but with all the wrong opinions. Welcome to the Morning Night Live with your host, the one and only P-Dog Knight.
Can I get a hell yeah in the chat? just a hell yeah. Stop that music. Let's go. Good afternoon. Welcome to the afternoon version of the Morning Night Live with your host, me, Marty, also known as P-Dog Knight on the internet. And welcome back to the P-Dog Knight channel on this Monday, the 15th of January, 2023. Happy MLK Day, Martin Luther King Jr. Day. One of the two, really the only, anymore, it's only two people that we honor by using their name anymore. Because we don't do George Washington's birthday anymore. It's President's Day because they kind of combined them into one, and then we have Martin Luther King Day, and basically Christmas, which is basically specifically for one person. So, yeah, you look, Dr. Martin Luther King, important figure in American history, and despite what Charlie Kirk says and anyone else, despite his faults, he led a movement that was important to a great deal of people. And in fact, there's a lot of people trying to piggyback off of that. You know, every other movement since has piggybacked off of what that particular movement did. So look, it is what it is. People have their flaws, but just like I said this morning, I said, you know, the same people who are going to talk about Dr. Martin Luther King's flaws and say, oh, that's why we shouldn't honor him, are the ones who are howling, and rightly so, if you say that the Founding Fathers, you don't want to celebrate the Founding Fathers because of their flaws or their current day, perception of what was something that, things that were different back then. So stop it. Let's just not do it. Yes, we know he had his flaws. We know he had his penchant for other systems. But what he did has been monumental to millions of people. So that's how we're gonna treat it. We're gonna stay. I'm gonna stick with it. Okay. It's okay. It's okay to keep up a statue of Martin Luther King. It's okay to keep a statue up of the Founding Fathers. It's okay to keep a statue up of William Penn. God, I can't believe they're going to take down a statue of William Penn in freaking Pennsylvania. Are they going to change the name of that state? I wouldn't be shocked, though. Like, there's, like, Minnesota, where I live, is beginning to rename a bunch of places that they say, oh no, that was a bad person. We're going to rename it. So like for example, in Minneapolis, there's a chain of lakes called Lake Calhoun, Lake of the Isles, and I can't remember the other one. But they changed the name of Lake Calhoun because it was named after what's his name? Calhoun. Well, obviously Calhoun, whatever. And they changed it back to some Native American name, as though the Native Americans also lived these pristine lives that never hurt anybody. But it was John C. Calhoun, for whatever reason, has significance in Minnesota. I'm not sure why, because there's another statue of him over in Minnehaha Falls Park, where his house was, back whenever, apparently he lived here or something. But anyway, they're starting to rename shit. I wouldn't be shocked if you start seeing some proposals to rename people's states. We got a new state flag that, because they didn't like the fact that there was an Indian and a settler on it, and they were cooperating because, we need to make a land statement or some shit. But whatever. Should I get in the show? Because like I said, I don't have a ton of time. So let's just start talking about stuff. But first, I'll say hi to the people who are here. First in the chat over on Rumble, Jimmy Das Hotep is in the house. Thank you for joining us today. Also, good morning or good afternoon, Avocados Diabli. And it looks like there might be one or two people watching a Rumble. Y'all are so used to me being here in the morning that I don't think anyone's showing up in the afternoon. It's just one of those things. There's 14 people on YouTube. Okay. Wait a minute. Current stream bitrate is lower than recommended bitrate. What are you talking about? It's the same bitrate I had this morning. It was just fine. Just turn that shit off. I don't care. It says there's a good connection, though. So on YouTube, first in chat, Mr. Chicago Mike. Wow. Thank you for joining us this afternoon. Also, good afternoon. I'm so used to saying good morning. I'm saying good morning every day. It's afternoon. Hey, don't let me say that again. Who am I talking to? I don't know. That's my alter ego, Johnny over there. Anyway, good afternoon, Kara Soldier, Mike Savage, Blarg. Isn't it past your bedtime, Mike? Isn't it like 11 o'clock at night where you live? Aren't you supposed to be getting your beauty sleep? Anyway. Also, good afternoon, Avocados Diabli, Simon Wilkins. What's happening? Shouldn't this be called the Evening Night Live? No. It's just afternoon where I live, but it's the Morning Night Live part 2. Also, good afternoon to Cannibalistic Wizard. Let's see. Ravon Harris, what's happening? Simic Magic. Somnambule Nation, thanks for tweeting out this show, too. Appreciate it. K Shull. Tyre Alexander. Whoops, Tyre Alexander is this one. Tyre Alexander, the Gentleman Lynch. Okay, stop it. That's good. That's good enough. That's epic still. Okay. All right. What? People might be able to create a mythos around MLK because so many are far removed from him and his life. The same can't be said yet about George Floyd. Yeah, they need to take down the George Floyd statues. My gosh, why do they have George Floyd statues? I still haven't figured it out. He didn't do anything extraordinary, but he was in a situation that of his own making, and then, and then the riots broke out about him, and they started building statues of the dude. I don't get it. I could see why, when the idea was that Derek Chauvin murdered him, people might be upset about that. I don't think it was worth burning down multiple city blocks and cities around the nation. But the idea that they made statues of him is just unfathomable to me, because he doesn't represent anything other than. Well, he doesn't represent anything for me. Anyway, good afternoon, Jethro Hetero. Nice to see you over on Rumble. I see you there. All right. So, just a couple things on X that I noticed before I get into the show. Now, Maddie is not here, but if she pops in, I'm going to give her credit for this video. And this, you know what? It's because, oh gosh, we will not have a George P. Floyd day. No. Anyway, here's a, oh wait, I gotta hang on a second. I gotta make sure you can see it. That would help. It would help if you could see what I'm doing. I didn't change much from the show this morning, so I might have things that aren't supposed to be on here. We'll find out. But Maddie so kindly dropped this little ditty into the X machine, formerly known as Twitter. Don't put the outro. What are you doing? So I'm going to show you this, and I want you to guess. Before I play it, I want you to guess what is about to happen here. And it's, I see someone overlooking, looks like a body of water. Looks like there's a motorboat out there. It might be a lake. I don't know what that is. Some trees. Does anyone, so we're going to guess what's about to happen here. And this has nothing to do with politics or anything. I just thought it was funny. And so we're going to do this. Okay, we got alligator. Okay, we got George of the jungle. Rope breaks. Mommy, how come Grandpa doesn't celebrate George before? Stop it. Watch out for that tree. Uh-oh. You may have already seen this. Anyway, yes, this is a George of the Jungle clip, and here we go. Here we go. Yeah. Oh, snabola! Holy. Dude. Oh my gosh. I think they may have misplaced the rope a little bit. He must be the first person to go on this swing. You know, let me just give you some advice. If you're one to make a rope swing on a tree to go into a lake, test where the rope goes before you actually use it. One more time. Yeah, are you okay? Here it is again. Oh, no! Ah! You okay? You okay? You all right? He's like, oh. Okay, so there you go. Thank you, Maddie. I know you're not here yet, but yeah, that was beautiful. And then also, let's see. The only other thing in here is this guy. This guy on X, he's one of these. I don't know if he's a Biden shill. I don't know if he's one of the DNC shills, whatever that post. But you know, these regular people who constantly, you know, blowing smoke up your butt about the Democrats and Biden and whatever. And he made he tweeted this, and there was only one thing came to mind immediately, and several other people commented on it. But he said, a vote for Joe Biden. He'll never ask you to die getting to the voting booth. And I thought to myself, well, what Democrat needs to do anything to get the dead people's vote? I just have no idea. And so you're an idiot. Anyway, people said he'll just import criminals to kill you in the Democrat run shitholes. Yeah, I wouldn't. Or no, he'll just ask you to die overseas in a pointless war instead. Most of his voters are already dead. In contrast, he'll do everything he can. In contrast, he'll do everything to ensure your right to vote and your safety as you vote. Shut up. Joe Biden doesn't even know what state he's in at any given moment. So anyway, he doesn't even know what office he's running for. There was a clip of him this weekend. And he's going in, he's saying something about, my name's Joe Biden, I'm from the government, and I work for you in the United States Senate. And it's like, Joe, you've been president for, 3 freaking years? How do you not know what office you are in? And then he got really creepy with this, high school-aged girl, and the high school-aged girl's like, get the hell away from me. I'm not going to play the clip, but you know what you've probably seen it already, so I'm not even going to go there. All right, let's see. Thank you, by the way, Somnambul Nation, Jimmy Das Hotep, also Silver Tier, and Tyrannus Alexandrius, the gentleman lich, for tweeting the show or retweeting someone else's tweet of the show or whatever. It's the 5-year anniversary of this show. We're celebrating all week, and I maybe now that things have settled down, that the new grandbaby's here, a little earlier than expected, and I didn't get to prepare as much as I would have liked to. Maybe I'll at least redo the intro and outro and stuff, because that was my plan for this weekend. I was going to redo the outro. I was going to change the intro a little bit. I was going to change my, I was going to change the graphics here. Once a year or so, I changed all the graphics on the show just for a fresh look, and I didn't get to do it this weekend, but for a very good reason. A very good reason, because we got a new grandbaby this weekend. So I'm very excited. Hello, Rock Hopper. Greetings from down under, or from up here, I should say. Rock Hopper from down under. I hit that score 7.2 for backflip with 1.5 twist and 1 roll with a half a tumble. Yeah, that was freaking beautiful. All right, let's get into some news. Now, there is it's gonna be somewhat lightning round today, because I still have, even though I got through a lot yesterday, but I still didn't get very far. or this morning. I didn't get very far, and I still have like 40 stories open. And Gunfox just drops another one. Thank you, Gunfox61. You are the new Streamlabs Superstar sponsor of the day. It carries over from this morning. Thank you very much, sir. Looks like it is Gunfox, right? Yeah, it is Gunfox. I had to look. I already knew that. He says Iran military goes to Yemen as another round of U.S. military strikes. Okay, well, let's see what this is. And this is from Semaphore News. I'll wait a minute, what the hell did I do? Hello. There we go. Let's just put that right to the front here. Oh, so apparently the Iranian Revolutionary Guard is being deployed in Yemen. The commanders and advisors from Iran's elite Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps are on the ground in Yemen and playing a direct role in Houthi rebel attacks on commercial traffic in the Red Sea. That's not a good thing. Hello, Aaron Meredith, reaction on Puerto Rico. And, I already said Ravon Harris. She already here. That's not good. The IRGC has stationed missile and drone trainers and operators in Yemen, as well as personnel providing tactical intelligence support to the Houthis. U.S. and Middle East officials told Semaphore, the IRGC, which is the, again, Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps of Iran, through its overseas Quds Force, has overseen the transfer to the Houthis of the attack drones, cruise missiles, and medium-range ballistic missiles used in a string of strikes on the Red Sea and Israeli targets in recent weeks. These officials said. Houthis say that its military operations are designed to aid the Palestinian militant group Hamas, which has been locked in a 3-month war with Israel. On Monday, the Pentagon said the Houthis struck a U.S.-owned and operated container vessel. We talked about that this morning. The MV Gibraltar Eagle in the Red Sea, but caused no significant damage. What's wild, though, okay, hang on a second. So I guess it didn't damage the ship. They say no significant damage, but I got to show you something. Someone sent me this morning. Swamp Fox Ghost sent me this. Let's open that up. It said, okay, so here it is. This may or may not be the ship, but here's what happened yesterday or before. A U.S.-owned cargo ship was just hit by a missile off the coast of Yemen. The United States Maritime Trade Operations Security Agency reported reported as a vessel hit from above by a missile. On its website, according to Ambry, a British maritime risk company, a fire broke out on board the Marshall Islands flagged U.S.-owned bulk carrier. The company assessed the attack to have targeted U.S. interests in response to U.S. military strikes on Houthi military positions in Yemen, Ambry said. With continued escalation of this nature, World War III could break out at any moment. The United States will likely react now with overwhelming force. Stay safe and be prepared for anything. The footage attached is being used as a placeholder to depict a ship on fire because, so this is not the same ship. Okay. I thought this was this picture of the ship. It's a placeholder to depict a ship on fire because no footage of the current event is available yet at the time of posting. The video below is a container ship that suffered an explosion a few years ago. So I thought that was, I didn't ever really read this fully because we had already done the story this morning. That is not the actual ship. So never mind, as Emily Latella would tell you. But because that ship that was hit, they said it sustained no significant damage and it continued on its trip. The Houthis fired a second anti-ship ballistic missile in the southern Red Sea, the U.S. Central Command said, but it failed in flight. It impacted on land in Yemen. So maybe it hit a parking lot of a hospital and then they could blame us for, attacking a hospital. Wait a minute, what the hell? Stop that. And then the IRGC's overall presence inside Yemen is overseen by General Abdul Reza Shalai, a Tehran-based commander whom the Trump administration attempted to assassinate in a 2020 drone strike inside Yemen. U.S. and Midwest officials said the American intelligence believes Shalai is deeply involved in Tehran's overseas terrorist operations through his role as the Quds Force deputy commander. So, man, this is not good. Now, there's a whole lot more in this story. Thank you, Gunfox, by the way, again. That's, when they say that there's, the Houthis are backed by Iran, you think, oh yeah, maybe they're just sending them aid stuff. But one of their commanders is in Yemen. Yeah, that's not a good thing. It's not a good thing. All my life, I've always wondered what it would be like to fire off a ballistic missile. Yeah, right. Hello, Renee Mayette. How you doing? It's afternoon dog night. Or she says, holy shit, it's evening dog night. Yeah, something like that. I can't even say it. It's so foreign to my tongue. All right, there's some crazy stuff going on. The Iowa caucuses are today, right? The Iowa caucuses are today. And so we're going to, there's a couple things I want to note about that. One, a lot of the major media has been putting like graphics up on their media, the New York Times, even Fox News and some of the others. And they've all removed Vivek Ramaswamy from their graphics, which is interesting because Vivek has been busting crazy, busting his ass to get all around Iowa. In fact, he's been to every county in Iowa twice. And he's been out, just every day holding events in every single county. And so you would probably think in Iowa, where that means something to the Iowa caucus system, because I used to live in Iowa, I know how it works. That could possibly bring him some success in the Iowa caucuses, especially with the weather the way it is. Maybe they think some people won't come out. And his, now the only other caveat to that is DeSantis has a huge organization in Iowa running things, and obviously Trump is far ahead on every poll, whatever. But it's interesting that they would remove him because, they don't think he's going to have enough support. It'll be interesting to see. I'm very curious about, he pulled the double Grassley. Impressive. Very impressive. He did the double Grassley. So anyway, it'll be very interesting to see how that goes today. Now, NBC News is fear-mongering about Donald Trump, though. Where'd the Tavy story go? Here it is. I'm going to move this over here so I can have them together. And these are stories I didn't have in the links this morning. But the fear-mongering from NBC News, politicians or whatever. And here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to keep this afternoon's Ace of Spades story up here. Let's make sure I put that in there too. I'm going to start with Ace here because I'll show you what he's talking about after I read this. But this is how he wrote it here. So NBC News, some fear that Trump would weaponize the government against his enemies. So they're planning to weaponize the government against possible Trump officials. Well, now the irony of the idea that some think that they might weaponize the government, that he might weaponize the government against his enemies, where the government is being weaponized against him and his supporters right now. And the government's been being weaponized against people on the right and people who go to PTA meetings and people, who just maybe have smelled like they might have been at the Capitol. Okay. The idea that Trump might weaponize the government that's weaponized against him already is funny in a way, but it's also derangement. Okay. So, and this is the story from NBC News, and this is the stories right here. But I'm gonna use Ace's summary of this because it's a very good summary. And so, and his thought is, now that's a bad thing. This is from the article. Donald Trump is sparking fear among those who understand the inner workings of the Pentagon, that he would convert the nonpartisan U.S. military into a muscular arm of his political agenda as he makes comments about dictatorship and devalues the checks and balances that underpin the nation's 2-century-old democracy. Now, that sentence is hilarious because his joke about being a dictator, when someone asked him about it, he said, something about being a dictator, he said, only for a day. And then that's all, just on day one, and then that would be over. A circle of now here's the rub. A circle of appointees independent of Trump's political operations steered him away from ideas that would have pushed the limits of presidential power in his last terms. According to books they've written, they're trying to sell books, eh? And testimony given to Congress. Oh, you mean like the January 6th committee or some shit like that? Give me a break. Most were gone by the end. In a new term, many former officials worry that Trump would instead surround himself with loyalists unwilling to say no. You mean like people appointed by the president to act on the president's wishes? Is that what you mean? I'm concerned. So he said, let me know what you think will happen if Congress refuses to fund Biden's war for his funders and paymasters in Ukraine. I think he'll just assert the unilateral authority to give U.S. money to a foreign country. What do you think, NBC News? Yeah, good point. That's from Ace. So anyway, Trump has raised fresh questions about his intentions if he regains power by putting forward a legal theory. Now listen to this, because this is stupid. Putting forth a legal theory that a president would be free to do nearly anything with impunity, including assassinate political rivals, so long as Congress can't muster the votes to impeach him and throw him out of office. Now, this is a bald-faced lie. He made no such legal theory that he would be free to assassinate political rivals. But there is a place where that came from. So, and this is farcical, as the great Matt Taibbi reported, this claim that Trump says he can assassinate U.S. citizens and not be prosecuted for it is entirely a fiction of the left-wing propaganda media. And Matt Taibbi said this: reporters keep plunging into bizarre new lows in coverage of Donald Trump. The new jam, his lawyers argued presidents can assassinate rivals, except he didn't at all. Trump's election interference criminal case is on hold pending an appeal by a trio of judges this week, citing a traditional interpretation of the Article 2 of the Constitution. The former president is asserting he must be impeached and convicted in the Senate before he can be criminally tried for any official act. Key phrase. MSNBC, however, in an article by former New York County prosecutor Jordan Rubin, unsurprisingly panned the claim in, quote, Trump's immunity argument highlighted by the absurdity of this position, end quote. The relatively restrained Rubin wrote, Donald Trump didn't have a strong chance of winning his immunity claim heading into oral arguments Tuesday in Washington, and the argument itself showed why. Now, listen to this, because this is where this thing came from. Judge Florence Pan pointed out that under Trump's theory, a president could order SEAL Team 6 to murder the president's political rivals, and so long as they're not convicted in an impeachment trial, they're off the hook. That's not what he's arguing. Assassinations would not be an official presidential act. That's not really what Trump's argument, highlighting the absurdity of it. That's not really Trump's argument, highlighting the absurdity of anything, and more like Judge Pan's doing so, but whatever. Rubin also said Trump is a good bet to lose his argument, adding, quote, Trump lawyer John Sauer asked the panel to pause any decision against the former president, end quote, while he challenges it on a higher appeal. Now, Trump is arguing that he cannot be prosecuted for any act in furtherance of his constitutional mandate. Again, guaranteeing the security and accuracy of election results does fall within his mandate. Straight up murdering people because he's big mad does not. But the propaganda media not only distorts his argument, but then they argue that Trump is claiming, I could whack a guy if I feel like it and it's all legit. That's not what he's arguing. Not what he's arguing. So anyway, and then he go through a list of all these people who are parroting the idea. Trump said he's arguing he could assassinate people if he wanted to because he's immune because he's the president. In fact, here's a few of them. This is from, what is this story from? This is from Taibbi's story. Even more incredible was a parade of reports appearing to claim Trump himself argued the SEAL Team 6 idea. Senator Schatz warns of new turn for Trump with SEAL Team 6 claim, was the header for a Chris Hayes interview of Hawaii Senator Brian Schatz. Schatz said it was one thing when Trump was essentially engaging in stochastic terrorism. There's my favorite word. There's a special one. But here, quote, the official position of Trump lawyers is going to be that he could order a murder of his political rivals using SEAL Team 6. No! He didn't even bring it up! Wow, really? According to Newsweek, which wrote the opening paragraph, quote, Democratic Senator Brian Schatz has claimed American democracy is at stake in the upcoming presidential election after Donald Trump's attorney argued presidential immunity would extend to political assassinations, according to a Washington, D.C. court case. That's just a flat-out lie. But that's what they're running with now. There's a long list of similar headlines. The Hill, Trump team argues assassination of rivals is covered in presidential immunity. Mediaite, Trump lawyer argues presidents can order SEAL Team 6 to assassinate rivals in stunning appeals courtroom exchange. The Bulwark, semi-humorously, Trump's lawyers argue Biden can assassinate him. Maryland's Jamie Raskin. Q-tip head, but except he's got cancer, so maybe he doesn't have his hair. Gaining fast in the always heated race for rep as the dumbest current member of Congress, fretted to fellow gentleman scholar Wolf Blitzer on CNN, quote, as a member of Congress, my first thought was, well, then if the president is going to order out for the assassination of his political rivals and say there's a narrow margin in the Senate of a 2 or 3 vote opposition party, what's to keep him from murdering members of the Senate to make sure that he doesn't get convicted there in order to deny a 2/3 majority? It just amazes me at how since the day he came down the escalator, the golden escalator, whatever they kept saying, the golden escalator, how they just completely twist his words in order to, continue their demagoguery. It's insane. It's insane. From their rapist comment, not knowing how to proper usage of they, there. It just nonstop where they misquote and misconstrue and completely try to take anything he says out of context. Now, granted, if it was Trump himself in this case, because Trump does have a weird way to use syntax when he's making sentences, right? But if you take them in context based on everything, the rest of the picture, you can determine what he says, even though these guys love to twist his words. He said, oh my gosh, he said, fight. He used the word fight. He means he wanted them to attack Capitol Police officers. No, he was talking metaphorical fight for your rights kind of thing. Anyway, and here's the thing. What really happened, this left-wing judge kept asserting that Trump's theory would mean that he could whack anyone he liked, and his team kept saying, no, it doesn't mean that at all. And so the media takes it as Trump argues he should be allowed to kill people like Jason Voorhees at summer camp. So anyway, I have both those stories. You could read this nonsense from NBC News if you want. I have it in the links. And I also have Matt Taibbi's dismantling of it on is this Substack? I don't know what this is, Racket News. Oh, wait, what? 7-day trial? I don't want a 7-day trial. No, I don't want it. Well, let me see if I can, it's very possible that they can get an archive version. I don't know. Let me see. Maybe not. We'll see. Let's try that. No, you cannot, but you can do a 7-day trial. But looks like they well, whatever. You can read in the Ace article, which I'll leave in the links. All right, let's move on. Let's go lightning round for the rest of the day though, because I got so many stories here that I wanted to touch on this morning. I just didn't have time. As you know, there was an insurrection at the White House over the weekend. Pro-Palestinian protesters or rioters forced a partial evacuation of the White House. Now, I heard from a reliable source in the mainstream media that when you force people to hide and cower and evacuation of a government building, that you're interfering with government shit, and that should be called an insurrection. And yet, I haven't heard any of the mainstream media talk about the insurrection over the weekend. I'm trying to understand insurrection. Oh, I'm adding more echo. Insurrection. Anyway, so, the march on Washington for Gaza. Again, they're piggybacking on Martin Luther King Day because that's what a lot of these movements do. On Saturday, boiled over into violence at the White House as thousands of pro-Palestinian demonstrators stormed the security fence and forced the evacuation of non-essential employees from the building. It was not immediately clear whether that included Joe Biden or if he was even in the White House at the time. I think he was taking a nap somewhere in Delaware. Anyway, but listen to this. Media tells Acosta that she and others were evacuated at the White House when temporary security fence took some damage. An official also telling me objects were thrown over that fence. There was enhanced security during the pro-Palestinian demonstration. Here, let's look at the tweet here because I want to read the rest of it. And they had prepared for this march to intensify over the course of the afternoon. So here's oh, that's just a picture. She just told Acosta that. So anyway, this was not a pro-Palestinian demonstration. It was part of a massive Hamas Iranian terrorist op that is being conducted all over the world. Okay, that's just someone else's opinion. I was hoping I had footage of it this morning. You guys, well, here's some right here from this mostlypeaceful.live. Oh my gosh, are they saying F Joe Biden? Wow, I thought only right-wing nut jobs did that. Well, that guy with the whistle is sure doing a lot of damage. But anyway, so mostly peaceful. All right, so anyway, there you go. The demonstration was ugly from the beginning. NBC reported that people in the U.S. Capitol held aloft signs questioning President Joe Biden's viability as a presidential candidate because of his staunch support for Israel in the nearly 100-day war against Hamas. They held up signs reading "No votes for genocide, Joe." Biden has blood on his hands. Let Gaza live. NBC adds that vendors were also selling South African flags as protesters chanted slogans in support of the country whose accusations of genocide against Israel prompted the International Court of Justice in The Hague, Netherlands, to take up the case, a court with absolutely no teeth whatsoever. So anyway, and then Secret Service reports staff relocated as pro-Palestinian demonstrators rocked White House security fence. Secret Service said staff and members of journalists were relocated as pro-Palestinian demonstrators shook the security fence and threw objects at law enforcement officers outside the White House Saturday evening. So we have already seen that. There's more footage from Julio Rosas and a couple other Twitter sites. DC and Secret Service had to rush to one part of the security fence to prevent a breach from the Palestinian crowd. Pro-Palestinian crowd, I should say. They weren't necessarily Palestinians. A lot of them were just probably Antifa shitbags. Hello, Roasted Opinions. Welcome to the show. Nice to see you again. So, yeah, and as we go down the list here, down the thing, Violent anti-Israel protesters removed from Santa. Oh, this is happening all over though. So here's an example in Santa Cruz, California. Let's get this on the screen, right? There we go. Violent anti-Israel protesters removed from Santa Cruz City Council meeting by police after screaming and throwing things and breaking windows. So here's what I don't get. Because this is happening in a lot of places, right? They're going to the city council meetings, they're going to some legislator, they're going to some, some talk by Hillary Clinton, who has no power whatsoever, and making all this ruckus, and the people that they're protesting to and at can't do shit about it. What the hell can Santa Cruz City Council do about Israel and Hamas? Nothing. Nada. Zilch. Zip. Whatever. Zip. Crap. Nada. They can't do shit. Anti-Israel protesters had to be removed from a city council meeting in Santa Cruz by police after they threw things at council members, hurled insults, and even broke a window in the chamber. The problem? The council declined to call specifically for a ceasefire in Israel. A meaningless gesture by a tiny town in California. The people acted out like spoiled children, throwing a tantrum because they didn't get their way. The meeting dragged on for a reported 10 hours. 10 freaking hours, because these lunatics wouldn't let go and were determined to be a problem for anyone. Broken window, effigies, and expletives inside the 10-hour Santa Cruz City Council debate over a ceasefire resolution. So I guess there was a resolution even. Here's a little clippy snippet.
I'd like, no. I think you're fine here. All right.
Having a little tantrum. How long is this? 3 minutes?
What is?
We'll watch it. It's all on the right side if you're wondering why you can only hear one side.
Is that the substitute motion has passed, which replaced the
Hammer time. Yeah, really?
Stop. Hammer time.
It amazes me too that they're well, it's the oppressor oppressed thing. So
Bush, let's proceed.
okay, this is taking too long. I thought there'd be some action early, but anyway, they were throwing things at city council member and all kinds of things, and this is sort of commentary that people were forced to listen to at the meeting. Oh, let's hear this. How long is this?
Were instant, not the humanity of us all, including millions of besieged Palestinians, but for a humanity in which the slow genocide against Palestinians would continue, our displacement and dispossession and deaths an unremarkable quotidian reality, the annual Ramadan bombing campaigns on Gaza and Christmas raids in Bethlehem, the birthplace of Jesus Christ, and poisoned water wells, bulldozed homes, burned olive trees, and deliberately maimed children would be met with sporadic protests here and there, but forgotten days and weeks later. I will not recite the horrors of our continued Nakba. I will not perform abjection.
Hello, Shrapnel, what's up?
Hopes that the U.S. and Israeli war machine will recognize our right to live. I will simply
10
say
hours of listening.
there are no words to express what it is to see and hear the bodies, limbs, organs, flesh, blood, screams, wails, and gasps of your murdered kin every minute of every day and night, and be unable to look away, because to look away would be
Okay, you get the gist. 10 hours. 10 hours of that.
betrayal.
Okay, I'm going to just stop right there. And well, partially too, I wouldn't be surprised if one of my relatives were there, just to be honest with you. But anyway, the San Francisco Board of Supervisors recently patted themselves on the back for voting in favor of a ceasefire. We will see this happen in more blue cities. Virtue signaling, which is all this is very important to the left. The San Francisco Board of Supervisors call for a ceasefire. Let's just run that right up to Washington and see what happens. And other things that are happening that are related to this, though, in South Africa, apparently South Africa suspended a Jewish player from a sports team captaincy due to his stance on the Gazan war, South Africa suspended David Teeger, a Jewish captain of South Africa's under-19 cricket team, on Friday over his stance over the Israel-Hamas war. Teeger showed support for Israel following the October 7th massacre by Hamas during an impromptu acceptance speech October 22nd as the Asba Jewish Achievers Award ceremony, in which he dedicated his award to Israeli Defense Forces soldiers, according to South African Jewish reports. Despite an independent commission clearing Teeger of any wrongdoing in December 2023, the South African government opted to suspend Teeger from his captaincy over protesters who may focus on Teeger's stance, which would risk conflict or even violence. So they took away his from him being a team captain because after October 7th he showed support. Didn't even say it was more recent, but they stripped him of his captaincy. So, and it is also there's an Israeli soccer star who's under investigation for inciting hatred by honoring Hamas's hostages. An Israeli soccer star playing in the Turkish National League is under investigation. They're investigating him for inciting hatred. See, hey, Trippy Liberty, what's up? For inciting hatred after showing support for Israel's war against Hamas. Saigiv Jehaxel, 28, scored a goal for Antalyaspor of the Turkish Super League and then pointed to his wrist, which showed the message 100 days, 7/10 July 7/10 is the day Hamas launched a massive brutal attack on Israel's soldiers and civilians. So they got in trouble for showing 10/7 and honoring the people who may have been killed or taken hostage. Turkish Justice Minister Yilmaz Tun called Ezekiel's action an ugly gesture. A judicial investigation has been initiated by Anatolia Chief Public Prosecutor's Office against Israeli football star player Saigiv Jehaxel, I can't say his name, for inciting people to hatred and hostility due to his ugly gesture supporting Israel's massacre in Gaza after scoring a goal in the... Oh, my God. Well, he's in Turkey. He's got to be careful, man. I condemn the attacks of Israel. To hasten to add, he also condemns Israel's defense of its citizens. So he was honoring the people, for the people who died on 10/7, and that is a hateful gesture, according to Turkey, which must be investigated. Fan-fucking-tastic. Great. In the University of Pennsylvania. Now, remember the three schools that were before the congressional hearing, the three presidents, University of Pennsylvania, MIT, and Harvard, and two of those presidents have now stepped down one over that particular instance where they could not say that calling for the genocide of the Jewish people would be a violation of your student code at your school, and then the other one had all the plagiarism problems, right? Well, let's see how that's going at the University of Pennsylvania. Two University of Pennsylvania students were arrested over anti-Semitic incidents, and the school won't say whether they face disciplinary action. Now, before I even read this, let's be fair here. And I'd be predicting what the schools will say because it's probably the correct stance. The schools probably cannot comment on their disciplinary action of students just for privacy reasons or whatever. You know what I mean? So I'm giving them a pre-pass before I read this. In the weeks before and after Hamas's October 7th attack on Israel, two University of Pennsylvania students were arrested in an anti-Semitic incident that shook the Philadelphia campus. One stormed into the Penn Hillel building and yelled, "Fuck the Jews," and destroyed furniture. Another stole an Israeli flag from an apartment near campus. Okay, wait a minute. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. So they don't want to say what happened to these students. Maybe they're expelled, but what? Wait a minute. They were arrested though? They were arrested. Both incidents generated media attention, and the school released a lengthy statement addressing the Hillel intrusion the day after it occurred. We unequivocally condemn such hateful acts. They were an assault on our values and mission as an institution. They have no place at Penn. Then University President Liz McGill, who's no longer University President, said in a statement, "We are unwavering in our commitment to ensuring our Jewish community feels safe and supported on our campus." What Penn will not say, if any, disciplinary action the students faced and whether they remain students at the Ivy League school. A spokesman for the University of Pennsylvania did not respond to a request for comment. So there's where I'm telling you. They probably can't speak to what disciplinary action they took. Now, what Penn will not say is what, if any, disciplinary action faced, whether they remain students. Oh, I said that. The incident Penn Hillel occurred on September 21st. The student was arrested. He was arrested by campus police. Penn has refused to identify the culprit behind the Penn Hillel incident. I bet if it was, oh boy, could you imagine though? I would guess that had it been any other type of incident by any other type of person against someone that they did like, or, say it was a conservative telling some liberal to fuck off, and they said, I bet his name would be plastered. We'd have a picture. They'd tell we suspended or expelled. They would tell us everything. So I find it hard to believe that they might not. I mean, probably the right policy is not to talk about the students and be specific, but, they probably should. I can't imagine that policy is always followed. All right, moving on. Daily Wire. Let's move on. We're trying to talk a little bit about Hunter Biden. Apparently, the House Republicans have offered to accommodate Hunter Biden with new subpoenas. House Republicans on Sunday said they are willing to accommodate Hunter Biden by agreeing to subpoena him again for the impeachment inquiry of his father, President Joe Biden, after he refused to comply in the last round. I'm surprised they don't just pull a Steve Bannon and get him in jail for contempt of Congress. Oversight Committee Chairman James Comer and Judiciary Chairman Jim Jordan wrote to Hunter Biden's attorney Abby Lowell welcoming the first son's newfound willingness to testify before Congress in a deposition under subpoena. Quote, although the committee subpoenas are lawful and remain legally enforceable as an accommodation to Mr. Biden and at your request, we are prepared to issue subpoenas compelling Mr. Biden's appearance at a deposition on a new date in the coming weeks, they wrote. Lowell wrote in a letter to the chairman on Friday after the Oversight Judiciary panels approved resolutions to hold the client in contempt of Congress for defying subpoenas issued in November. The lawyer said Hunter Biden would appear for a deposition or hearing in compliance with a proper subpoena since the House voted to formally authorize the impeachment inquiry last month. So, and he's showed up to Capitol Hill twice, making a big show of him going there and not saying shit. So anyway, in PJ Media, the branded entity moves on to another child trapped in a coffee shop photo op. Now here's the one. I'm just going to show you. You may have seen this, you may not. But if anyone can tell you that Joe Biden is just not a weirdo, I am, hang on, hold on here. So he's talking to reporters while he's doing this too. So reporters are asking him questions, and here he is down here bothering this teenage girl. Don't know about how old she is. Looks between 12 and 18, somewhere in that range. And here's Joe Biden.
This is Secretary Austin.
I do.
Now, stop. So there's reporters asking him questions while he's creeping on this girl. He says, I do. And then he starts whispering at her.
Option, do I can't for him not to tell you earlier?
Yes,
This is Secretary
I'm just showing you again.
I do.
Was it the option, do I can't
I'm sorry. How you doing? Hey, little girl. I like your hair. I want to sniff it, but they keep asking me questions. Yes. What the hell is he doing? What are you doing? Yeah, he's about to spill a drink on her. Here, let me. Oh, excuse me. Let me help you take those wet clothes off of you. Get out of here. Hello, Brad Young and Darren Root. What's up? So anyway, yeah, Joe Biden is in fact a weirdo. This is the same or he forgot that he was the president of the United States too. Let's see. PJ Media also. This is interesting, and I think we might have played this clip Friday. But Nancy Pelosi, the crypt keeper on CNN, talking about it would be impossible for Trump to be elected. Here, let me get this. There we go. Here's the clip. How long is this version? No, that's 8 minutes. Never mind. I'll just read this. So she made an ominous claim about Trump's campaign during a recent CNN appearance. This is CNN. Nancy Pelosi made the bizarre declaration that has many scratching their heads as to what she meant. In this segment, host Phil Mattingly openly wondered why the polls are so close and asked her about it. Quote from Phil Mattingly. Oh, Jason, who's in the house too. He says, you lay out what the former president has said he wants to do in terms of repealing Obamacare, in terms of being proud of Roe versus Wade being struck down, in terms of more tax cut, along the lines of what you saw in 2017. That also polls much better for Democrats than it would for him, Mattingly began. And yet, this is a neck-and-neck race, and no one feels very comfortable in the Democratic side of things that Trump isn't going to be the next president. So here's what Pelosi says. Well, I don't think that nobody feels. I think that many of us know that it is impossible for him to be president again with what he's proposing. Excuse me? Impossible? It would be impossible for him to be the next president? What exactly does that mean, Nance? I don't know. How can Pelosi say with confidence that it is impossible for Trump to be president again? Is there some sort of scheme she's concocted or knows about, like in 2020 when the Democratic governors nationwide unilaterally and illegally made changes to election laws to give Biden an advantage? Is she counting on efforts to boot Trump off the ballots to come through, or for the absurd criminal charges by the Biden administration against Trump to succeed? In any of those cases, Pelosi can't justifiably be so confident without knowing something that we don't, right? So anyway, and Mattingly even said that. She kind of double-tracked. What did you mean by that? Or why did you say that? She said, well, because when you're talking about what he's talking about right now is more tax cuts for corporate America, taking them so low to the detriment of our budget and meeting the needs of the people. But people have to know, I have said over and over again, President Lincoln said, public sentiment is everything. What? Wait, President Lincoln said that? Oh, that's right, because you were there when he said it. With it, you can accomplish almost anything. Without it, practically nothing. But public sentiment has to be informed. People have to know, so we can talk more about what he has done, what it means at the kitchen table for people who have lower cost for prescription drugs, lower cost for healthcare, because that's not just about their good health, it's about their financial health and security as well. So she finally got back to the normal talking points because she knew she fucked up. She said something wrong, and we all want to know what it means that it'd be impossible for him to be president again. Very interesting stuff there. Moving on, executives say they're committed to DEI policies despite rising backlash. 57% of 322 U.S. executives surveyed in November 2023 by the employment law firm Littler said their organizations have expanded their DEI programs over the past year, which means they're playing lip service to it. They're having seminars and all this other stuff, but we already know, too, that the so-called DEI hiring has still slowed, despite all these companies saying they're all on board. You know, you survey a company, what do you expect them to say? Oh, no, fuck DEI. We don't want to be even seen around that DEI bullshit. They would be just smashed to smithereens by the Antifa and BLM factors. So anyway, executives say they're still committed to DEI according to a new survey. That's all I need. That's all you need to know. They have to say that because it's almost, and the ones who are saying that they're not, they are super brave. Let's just say that. To say you're not, because it's still not, it's still the fashionable thing to be. Now, and also there's an article in the City Journal about the DEI's attack dog, the Southern Poverty Law Center. If you want to read this, it's fascinating, but we all know about the Southern Poverty Law Center. In American greatness, race baiting Biden renews his favorite playbook in 2024. Well, of course, it's all about if you're not voting for Biden, you ain't black. There are very few things you don't already know about Joseph Rahim Robinette Biden. Almost none of them are positive qualities. We know that he will literally say and do anything, no matter how dishonest or unethical, if it means staying in power at all cost. We know that he has a problem lying about his supposedly stellar academic record or easily verifiable events if he thinks it will lend him more credibility with a block of voters. We know that Biden is a plagiarist, seamlessly stealing entire lines from Robert F. Kennedy and Neil Kinnock and hoping no one will notice. Disgraced former Harvard professor and raging anti-Semite Claudine Gay must be very proud of Biden's academic integrity. We know Biden family is corrupt and that they have used his proximity to power to enrich themselves. In case the Washington Post and the rest of the leftist corporate media still think there's no evidence of wrongdoing, maybe they could try explaining how a career politician and family has managed to rake in over $24 million during a 5-year period from 2014 to 2019 from countries like China, Russia, Ukraine, Romania, and Kazakhstan. Without providing any tangible services. We all know that Biden has built his entire career on race baiting and lying about his civil rights record in a pathetic attempt to gain credibility with the black community. Biden has repeatedly claimed he was arrested on a trip to South Africa while in the 1970s while attempting to meet with Nelson Mandela, who was in prison on the Robben Island at the time. Aside from the fact that not a single person has ever been able to corroborate Biden's ridiculous story, the township of Soweto, where he maintained he was arrested, is more than 760 miles from Robben Island. Apparently, geography is not one of Biden's strongest career qualities. On several other occasions, Biden has also falsely claimed that he picketed the last segregated movie theater in Wilmington, Delaware in 1965, yet according to the book Historic Theaters of Delaware, the Rialto Theater that Biden supposedly picketed had already begun admitting black patrons in 1963, meaning Biden was 2 years late to the party, pal. I just threw in a little, what was that? Not Lethal Weapon, the other guy, the Christmas movie. Not Hard to Kill. That's Steven Seagal. What's it called? Die Hard. Die Hard. That's pal. Welcome to the party, pal. Anyway, while we always knew Biden was wishfully dishonest, what we did not know until this past week is that his strategy for the 2024 race would mirror the exact same playbook he used to run his failed 1988 campaign, the same campaign where he was forced to drop out for telling one George Santos-like whopper after another. The reason for this is twofold. Biden cannot run on his disastrous record. His second, his popularity with the black community has dropped considerably during his presidency. According to New USA Today Suffolk University poll, Biden now has the support of just 63% of black voters, a steep decline from the 87% he enjoyed in 2020. If that poll is anywhere near close to accurate, it's game over. It's game over, man. For Biden, which is why he's resorting to his old dirty tricks. What movie is that from? Game over, man. Is that Aliens? In 1986, Biden delivered one of his most trademark divisive speeches at the 77th annual NAACP convention, which he accused then President Ronald Reagan and conservatives in general of being white supremacists. Oh my God, pot kettle. Hello, Zed Snarky. Let's see. Who are supposedly bitter over the black community making advancements in their quality of life. So he said that now. But now here's what he said on January 8th, 2024 at Mother Emanuel AME Church in Charleston, South Carolina, because the quadrennial visit to the black church by white presidential candidates from the Democrats. He said, the lies that led to January 6th are part of a broader attack on the truth in America today that we have all seen before. The same movement throughout the mob at the United States Capitol isn't just trying to rewrite history of January 6th. They're trying to determine to erase history and your future, banning books, denying your right to vote and have it counted, destroying diversity, equality, inclusion across all America, harboring hate and replacing hope with anger and resentment, and a dangerous view of America. That narrow view of America, a zero-sum view of America that says If you win, I lose. If you succeed, it must be I failed. If you get ahead, I fall behind. It may be the worst of all. If I hold you down, I lift myself up. Oh my God, he's a what a prick. Yeah, that's not new in America. Every stride forward has often been met with ferocious backlash from those who fear the progress, from those who exploit the fear for their own personal gain, from those who traffic in lies told for profit and power. What Biden is doing here could not be more obvious. Not only is he projecting what he himself is guilty of, but virtually every single word that he said is a lie. Shocker. For the record, the only books that are being banned are the ones that have inappropriate sexual content and that have no business being in a school library in a classroom, let alone in elementary school at all. But if Biden wants to defend sexual perversion, that's his prerogative. It's his prerogative. And according to Biden, requiring American citizens to present a valid form of ID at the polls instead of allowing Democrat activists to collect thousands of unverifiable ballots and dump them in an unsupervised drop box is akin to denying them the right to vote. We've already caught some people doing that shit. Hello, Debazy Disgrace, by the way. Surely Biden knows these statements are flat out falsehoods, but none of that matters to him. All that matters is he's convincing enough to black voters to turn out on election day, or likely weeks before an election day. Now, so that he alone can protect them from those evil white supremacist Republicans. Well, you know what? If you look at polls lately, the brothers and sisters are getting smart on Joe Biden, and it ain't working. So we'll see what happens. Of course, you get the people like Charlie Kirk saying stupid shit on the internet, and they'll be like, oh, see, these Republicans hate black people, because Charlie Kirk's an idiot. All right, moving on. Oh, and now, remember we talked about how Dr. Anthony Fauci, lied about where the importance of social distancing. Remember, he said, well, you know, we don't really know where that idea came from. Well, you made everyone do it, and look, I was in a Walgreens today, okay? I was in a Walgreens picking up a prescription for my mother-in-law, and I go into the patio furniture. What's up? I was in Walgreens, and they still have the stupid dots on the floor that you must have 6 feet of social distancing. And then you get up to the front of the line, and there's a little sign, a Walgreens sign that still says, yes, we want you to social distancing for this and that and this and that. That was bullshit from the start. That was some science project some middle school kid of some official in England came up with, and it's all bullshit. And Dr. Fauci admitted, we don't really know where that idea came from. It just came out of nowhere, and we thought it was a good idea because it sounded good, even though we didn't have any science to back it up. So anyway, every once in a while when I'm on the radio, this is Victoria Taft. I tell the story about how I first heard of the so-called social distancing during COVID. Early in the pandemic, at a White House presser, the scarf queen, Dr. Deborah Birx, said they just sort of made up the whole 6-foot thing. Birx said something like, well, we thought we'd just double the distance suggested for most illnesses. Fauci was in on the conception of the life-altering lunacy. They were spitballing, pure and simple. The media were there for the presser, but that origin story was sucked into a supermassive black memory hole to make room for a more Fauci worship. The proclamation, the guidance made by the highest paid government employees in America, the science of Dr. St. Anthony Fauci and other coronavirus poobahs brought near societal catastrophe. It may yet, the country's citizen, isn't it adorable that we still think of ourselves as citizens, are still counting the cost of this authoritarian juggernaut. This past week, we learned that Fauci testified in secret to the House Select Subcommittee on the coronavirus pandemic, that the whole 6-foot social distancing thing was made up, according to readabouts of the meeting that were too insignificant to witness in person or on C-SPAN. The now retired government employee told grown elected officials that the 6-foot social distancing guidance, and we're quoting here, quote, it just sort of appeared. So many COVID rules just sort of appeared, it seems. The mainstream media are confounded and shocked. The Boston Herald headlined its reaction with, quote, Fauci socially distances from responsibility for lockdown fallout, end quote. Other media outlets are pretending that this was new news. As I was looking for the Burks quotes I referenced in the paragraph of the story, several hours long search over 2 days, I found this little nugget in that obscure blog site called Forbes. CDC's 6-foot social distancing rule was arbitrary, says former FDA commissioner. So now they're all pretending this is new because they memory hold what Dr. Burks said about it before. All right, I got to keep going because I got a lot more to do and not a lot of time to do it. Here we go. Let's see. Oh, apparently there's proof that the border crisis that Biden has brought us into was intentional and it's being covered up. During Donald Trump's time in office, the number of illegal border crossings dropped dramatically, an undeniable result of Trump's zero-tolerance policy for illegal immigrants. The border wall was also worked well in stopping people from crossing illegally, but when Biden became president, things changed. On his first day in office, he signed an executive order halting border wall construction. As anyone could have predicted, illegal immigration skyrocketed after Biden took office. Within months of Biden taking office, the number of illegal border crossings shot up to 6 times more than what the Obama administration deemed to be crisis level, and it's only gotten worse. We've obviously seen that. We talk about it all the time. Now, I'm trying to figure, I want to know, they say that it was intentional. So anyway, the White House has repeatedly sought to blame Republicans for this crisis. They don't officially recognize as a crisis, but confidential documents obtained by the Immigration Reform Law Institute have pulled the curtain back on the border crisis, revealing that the historic influx of illegal immigrants is entirely by design. According to a lawsuit by the IRLI against the Department of Homeland Security, the agency ceased the 287G program under Biden. The 287G program enables the removal of illegal immigrants involved in serious criminal activities such as child rape, attempted murder, assault, carjacking, and other criminal offenses. The program gives local law enforcement the ability to work with immigration and customs enforcement to capture illegal immigrants who have committed crimes and bring them to federal custody for arrest and deportation. Sure sounds like a sound program, right? Well, to most people, yes, but the Biden administration, not so much. The program was canceled in January 2021, soon after Joe Biden took office. The agency never provided any explanation for the decision. It is ironic that the Biden administration insists that it is the most transparent in history, when in reality it has repeatedly attempted to change immigration laws without congressional authorization and then tried to hide the evidence of its misdeeds from the American public, according to the IRL Director of Investigations, Matt O'Brien. And then there's more about it in town hall. So, why would they do that? Well, because they're shitbags. Day of the caller. Just get that center there. Biden's still saying that the southern border is not a crisis as the illegal crossings continue to grow. What are we at? 7 million now? 7 more, something like that? Biden told reporters on Sunday that there was no crisis at the southern border, even as illegal crossings surged to a record high. As he was leaving for Camp David, Biden was asked by Fox News reporter Lucas Tomlinson whether he considered there to be a crisis at the southern border. Biden responded by saying that there was no crisis at the border and shifted the blame for the situation to Republicans. How can he say it's Republicans' fault? No. And I've been pushing them, my Republican colleagues, since they got in office. I think we have to make major changes to the border. Look here, dipshit. You made major changes to the border. That's why there's more coming and more coming and more coming. You dumb motherfucker. Jesus. Oh my God. Republican rips into Biden over the comments, pinning the blame on the Biden administration policies. The architect of the open border crisis, Biden is the architect of the open border crisis. It is also delusional if he believes Republicans have not been willing to secure it, said Senator Ron Johnson. The truth is that he is the most dishonest, corrupt, and incompetent president in American history. They have several other comments by Republicans. We can skip those. In the Daily Wire, Democrat Dean Phillips of Minnesota blasts Biden's handling of the border an unmitigated, embarrassing, unforgivable disaster. Now remember, Dean Phillips is running for president under the Democratic ticket, although I don't think they're doing any caucuses in Iowa between Joe Biden and Dean Phillips and anyone else, Robert Kennedy Jr., anybody. They're not even doing it. They're giving the nomination to Joe Biden until they remove him from the ticket, because we all expect that. You know what's going to happen, right? Dean Phillips ripped President Joe Biden during a Democratic presidential event this week for the collapse of the U.S. southern border. Phillips, who is a long shot candidate, I'll say, made the remarks during News Nation's Democratic presidential forum on Friday with other long shot candidates. Cenk Uygur. I forgot. Cenk Uygur is running for president. And Marianne Williamson, you know, the crazy lady, right? Although, I got to tell you, for a crazy lady, Marianne Williamson sometimes says some really smart things. She reminds me, I don't know if y'all remember Cynthia McKinney from Georgia. She was a congresswoman, and then she was a nut job. But you listen to her now, and you go, wow. Some of the things she says make sense. Well, sometimes Marianne Williamson makes sense too, even though she's a whacked out leftist. Like, I mean, she probably want to put flowers in all the, Marines M3 or M16, whatever they are now, and whatever. But Cenk Uygur is running for president. I completely forgot about that. I thought it was a joke. Anyway, Phillips called the border crisis, which experts have said directly caused by his policies, an unmitigated Biden's border crisis, an unmitigated, embarrassing, unforgivable disaster. His remarks came within the context of explaining numerous issues where he disagrees with Biden. The other areas where I differ with him immensely is on our southern border, said Phillips. I've been there twice. It's an unmitigated, okay, I said it 4 times already in this article. We know what he said now. He warned Democrats risk Republican winning the White House in 2024 because his party has taken too little or no action to fix what is happening at the border, saying that Republican presidential candidates are actually listening to the voters. There you go. There's Cenk in the forum. Look at that. There's Cenk Uygur. Oh my God. He's just the he's like, which one's the funny one? Laurel or Hardy? He's the fat funny one, not the guy who's there to be the butt of the jokes or be the straight guy. Cenk Uygur. Oh my God. Moving on. The bogus claim. Oh, this is, so the Texas National Guard has kind of kicked the Border Patrol to the curb and has taken over some of these areas where all these migrants are crossing. And now there's a bogus claim, according to PJ Media, that the Texas authorities were responsible for 3 migrants' deaths. The Department of Homeland Security is claiming that Texas authorities allowed a woman and 2 children to drown while trying to cross the Rio Grande River. DHS says that Border Patrol agents were prevented from gaining access to Shelby Park, where Mexican authorities say they observed 3 migrants in distress. Tragically, a woman and 2 children drowned last night at the Shelby Park area of Eagle Pass, which was commandeered by the state of Texas earlier this week, a DHS spokesman said in a statement. The Justice Department is suing Texas after the state denied Border Patrol access to the area around the Eagle Pass border crossing. Some of the most recent attempts by Texas Governor Greg Abbott to slow the flow of illegals crossing into Texas were to authorize Texas law enforcement to arrest illegals at the border and to order the state to take over the 50-acre Shelby Park and fence it off. The White House couldn't pass up an opportunity, though, to portray Abbott as cruel and inhumane. On Friday night, a woman and 2 children drowned near Eagle Pass, and Texas officials blocked U.S. Border Patrol from attempting to provide emergency assistance. While we continue to gather facts about the circumstances of these tragic deaths, one thing is clear. Governor Abbott's political stunts are cruel, inhumane, and dangerous, a spokesman said. U.S. Border Patrol must have access to the border to enforce our laws. They're not enforcing our laws, asshole! Border Patrol personnel were forced out of Shelby Park earlier this week by the Texas National Guard under the order of Governor Abbott. As a result, Border Patrol was unable to render aid to the migrants and attempt to save them, he said. But why didn't the Texas Guard allow the Border Patrol to rescue the migrants? It could be that the migrants were on the Mexican side of the river. Why would they go to the Mexico side of the river to save these people? At approximately 9:45, Texas Military Department issued a statement that clarified the circumstances of the incident and showed that DHS was lying about it. Quote, at approximately 9:45 p.m., TMD observed a group of Mexican authorities responding to an incident on the Mexico side of the riverbank. The Texas Military District statement said the TMD, Texas Military District, reported their observations back to Border Patrol, and they confirmed that the Mexican authorities required no additional assistance. At the time, TMD ceased search operations. At no time did TMD security personnel along the river observe any distressed migrants, nor did TMD turn back any illegal immigrants from the U.S. during this period, the agency said. Also, at no point was TMD made aware of any bodies in the area of Shelby Park, nor was TMD made aware of any bodies being discovered on the U.S. side of the border regarding this situation. The dishonesty of the meeting is astounding. Texas Public Radio headlines their piece, 3 migrants drowned in the Rio Grande after Texas blocks Border Patrol from rescue. Liars! Texas did not block anyone from rescuing migrants. The Border Patrol was responding to a call from Mexican authorities. And if the migrants could have been rescued by U.S. Border Patrol agents, why did their bodies wash up on the Mexican side of the river? So they're pushing a narrative. They're pushing a narrative. Daily Caller. Quietly applauding. The Daily Caller reporter reveals how Border Patrol agents feel about Governor Abbott's latest move. You know, I got to talk to Reaction. Reaction in Puerto Rico. Are you still here? I still want to talk to Tom Homan if that's even possible. We'll talk. I'll call you. I'll talk to you, man. Daily Caller News Foundation reporter said rank and file Border Patrol agents quietly support Republican Texas Governor Greg Abbott's effort to secure the border during an appearance on Newsmax Saturday. The Texas Department of Public Safety seized a park in Eagle Pass, Texas, Thursday as the state seeks to address the record-breaking surge in illegal immigration. Border Patrol agents told the Daily Caller that they supported Abbott's efforts, which the Biden administration has taken legal actions to stop. You know that the rank-and-file Border Patrol agents are thinking, what the hell are we doing? Our job is not to just process people and bring them donuts on Sunday morning. Our job is to keep the border secure, that not having all these people come through. And their job has become, okay, we're just going to let them cross, and then we're going to process them. Then we're going to send them someplace in the United States where they disappear and never come back for their hearing that's scheduled for 4 years later. You know the Border Patrol agents this is not what they thought their job was. It's amazing. So it doesn't surprise me. You can read the article yourself. Going on, Breitbart, Massachusetts officials pleading with private homeowners to take in illegal aliens. So the governor, I saw this. They have the video of the governor asking people to, let's see, Melrose, Massachusetts holding, oh wait, oh my God. So the governor, they don't have the video. The state of Massachusetts is asking private homeowners to take in illegal aliens as the state runs out of room to house thousands of border crossers who are still flooding into the Bay State. So apparently they're coming to Massachusetts too. Not just New York, not just Chicago, not just Denver, and not just Los Angeles and San Francisco, but also Massachusetts. Massachusetts is the only state that has a statewide right to housing rule for the homeless families. Oh, that's why they're coming to Massachusetts. And Massachusetts Governor Maura Healey has repeatedly asked legal residents to open up their homes to illegal immigrants for whom officials are having a hard time finding beds. Healey declared a state of emergency over the influx of illegal aliens in August, saying in her declaration, quote, there are currently nearly 5,600 families and more than 20,000 individuals in state shelters, including children and pregnant women. Oh my gosh, see what she does there? And pregnant women, so that it's a tearjerker. It's not just the most 98% military-aged males, but there's, oh my gosh, there was a pregnant woman in that group of 25,600 people. There was a pregnant woman and some children. She did say pregnant women. Oh yeah, she did say pregnant women. Oh my goodness, does the governor know what a woman is? One solution Healy and her allies have suggested is housing migrants in private homes. Now, it's funny because they're asking for volunteers. How long will it be before they demand people take in migrants into their private homes? I'm curious. Days after Healy's declaration, Lieutenant Governor Kim Driscoll told the state, most importantly, if you have an extra room or a suite in your home, a suite. I have a special suite for, I can house 22 illegal immigrants in the special suite in my home. If you have, if you have an extra room or a suite in your home, please consider hosting a family. Housing and shelter is our most pressing need to become a sponsor family. Sponsor this. The state is currently housing more than 1,400 families in 40 hotels in 28 cities around the state at taxpayers' expense and free for the illegal aliens. According to FAIR, the average stay for these families is 14 months of free room and board. Holy shit. There's a event in Melrose, Massachusetts called Exploring the Host Home Experience to encourage residents to house illegals in their home. Yeah, you know what? I want to house, I got a extra suite in my room in our house that we're not using. It's called the living room and the dining room that we don't use a whole lot. And we could probably host 14 of those heavily tattooed guys from Ecuador. Give me some of them. I'll take, how much you going to pay us to take in some of them? Oh wait, I have a wife. I better not do that. Okay. Anyway, moving on. Legal insurrection. Oil prices are surging as the conflict in the Red Sea continues. So hold on to your wallet, because oil rose 1%. It's going to rise more because that conflict is going to grow. That's all I wanted to say about that. You can read the actual story if you'd like. In Breitbart, California Sheriff says that Governor Newsom is targeting the law-abiding while giving criminals a pass. Wow, yeah, I'm pretty sure he's spot on. California Riverside County Sheriff Chad Bianco breathed a sigh of relief when California's latest gun control was blocked, and this suggested that Governor Gavin Newsom targets law-abiding citizens while giving criminals a pass. Yeah, he's going after guns. People legally have guns, but they're not dealing with the criminals. On January 7th, 2024, Breitbart News noted that the law-expanding gun-free zones for California concealed carry permit holders had been blocked during a last-minute appeal by the California Rifle and Pistol Association. Otherwise, law-abiding permit holders would have faced a slew of new places in which they were barred from being armed for self-defense. Sheriff Bianco responded to new gun control being blocked by telling Fox News the gun controls were part of an anti-gun ownership agenda from the start. He then highlighted what he sees as the differences between how Newsom treats criminals and the law-abiding. The fact about everything we're doing to take away the gun rights and ownership, and the carrying concealed weapon aspect of the whole thing, where you can carry and where you can't, it flies in the face of what they do with criminals. They have a very pro-criminal stance in California, and they have for years all of the laws. Newsom's goal is to close as many prisons as he can and not prosecute and not sentence anyone to state prison. They blame law enforcement. They blame society. So there's never personal responsibility on someone's criminal behavior. It's always someone else's fault. And there is this agenda that is extremely pro-criminal in Sacramento. Absolutely. That's why there's so much crime in California right now. When they raised they can't prosecute you. What is $900 if you steal from a store? You have before they can call it any kind of felony, and they're just not prosecuting the misdemeanors. It's crazy. Okay, there's a list of COVID whoppers that that Anthony Fauci did, Dr. Anthony Fauci, and you can read that one on your own. I'm going to skip it. It'll be in the links. But here's another one. Fauci funded Wuhan lab collaborator Peter Daszak is still getting millions of dollars from the U.S. government to play with new bat viruses. Now, this is gain of function dude, right? Is that Peter Daszak of that? What's that company called? I don't know what it's called. But the Peter Daszak, the Anthony Fauci funded researcher who's EcoHealth Alliance. His group is accused of having potentially been involved in the creation of COVID-19 before it leaked from a Wuhan laboratory, is still receiving millions of dollars from the U.S. government and still seeking out viruses in bats, pangolins, and other animals around the world with which to experiment. Can we put him in jail too? Can they both go straight to hell? Do not pass go. Do not collect your extended government pension. Hello, Donkey Punch Bandit. What's up? Filling in for Drunkle today? No, I am Drunkle. Well, no, I'm not drunk. I have to be somewhere at 6:30. Okay, moving on. Oh, Harvard professor at the center of elitist attacks and Christopher Rufo's Harvard credentials backfires. Oh, this was that lady, which was hilarious. So she started see, Christopher Rufo has a degree from Harvard. Now, this lady who who works at Harvard was trying to give him shit for saying he went to Harvard by saying this. On Rufo, this is Jennifer Hochschild. What do integrity police say about his claim to have a master's degree from Harvard, which is actually from the open enrollment extension school? Those students are great. I teach them, but they are not the same as what we would normally think of as Harvard graduate students. So in other words, she was saying that the people who get degrees through the Harvard extension, well, they're not real Harvard students. Their degrees are not the same as us real Harvard graduates. And people just ripped her to shreds, especially the faculty at Harvard, because they were like, hey, wait a minute. I got a degree from through this extension program, and you're saying my degree is not as good as yours, Miss Hochschild? And in fact, it eventually got a one of those reader community notes. Harvard Extension School is a fully accredited Harvard school. Their degrees and certificates are adorned with the Harvard University insignia. Their graduates walk at university commencement and become members of the Harvard Alumni Association. Oh my gosh. So people are ripping her to shreds, deservedly so, and it's funny. The article's there. California's public university employees demand equity transformation and threaten to strike if they don't get it. Limits on police powers, regular access to gender-inclusive restrooms included among the demands. Give me a second. Professors and other employees at the California State University system are threatening to strike if system leaders refuse to provide a, quote, desperately needed equity transformation, end quote. Remember, when you hear the word equity, class, what do? Run. Which would include limits to police power and widespread access to gender-inclusive bathrooms. Gender-inclusive bathrooms. The California Faculty Association is an, quote, anti-racism social justice union, end quote, that represents nearly 30,000 employees of the nation's largest university system, announced the demands in Tuesday's statement. The union said California State University leaders have, quote, never taken seriously our proposals for a desperately needed equity transformation, end quote. As a result, the union said it has no other option but to continue to move forward with our plans for a system-wide strike. Included in the union's equity transformation policies are aimed at undermining campus police. One section of the union's contract proposal calls to ensure the well-being of faculty who have and continue to suffer negative consequences of over-policing in the United States by requiring a union representative to attend all conversations between school employees and campus law enforcement. Campus police must also be unarmed when talking to university staff, the contract says. Another section of the contract, meanwhile, compels university leaders to provide gender-inclusive restroom within 5 minutes of every faculty member's work site and install signs indicating where the nearest gender-inclusive bathroom is located. Should a California University system member fail to comply with the provision, faculty members may file grievances over health and safety risks and inequities for lack of access to gender-inclusive restrooms. Oh my God. There's more, but I'm not reading it. These people are fucking nuts. I'm sorry, I had it on the wrong I didn't have it in the middle of the column there, did I? Oh boy. Let's see. Miranda Devine, Trump runs victory lap in Iowa as DeSantis, Haley drive through blizzards for a shot at distant second place. This is interesting because even Miranda Devine, is she going to mention Vivek Ramaswamy, who's been just busting his ass in Iowa? And who knows if it's going to work? We'll find out in about 4 or 5 hours. It must be dispiriting to drive through blizzards across Iowa all week to see Donald Trump drop in at the last minute and effortlessly coast to record poll numbers while pulling a standing room crowd of passionate voters to his one event Sunday in Indianola. I've never even given anyone else a second thought, says a truck driver and a diehard Trumper, Bean Dutcher. His name is Bean Dutcher. That's a name, man. That's the name Hall of Fame. Bean, B-E-A-N, Dutcher, of the other Republican candidates, wearing his Trump mugshot not guilty t-shirt and red "We the People Stand with Donald Trump" cap. The Indianola native is Trump or bust. That's the grim reality for Ron DeSantis and Nikki Haley as they keep grinding their way to win over small crowds and compete for second place with roughly 1/5 of the vote apiece. I was watching, over the last few days, several days. I don't mean to keep bringing up Vivek. I don't necessarily think Vivek's perfect or a great. I mean, he's okay. I don't know if I trust him or not, but I think he says all the right things. He's the best at engaging with people one-on-one or people asking questions, and he gives great answers. Okay, now I just don't know. His background is suspicious and everything, but whatever. I've been watching him tweet out the crowds that come to his events all across Iowa. And he's getting 100, 200 people at every event. And in the Iowa caucuses, if you can get 100 or so people to come to your event at just him coming to talk, those are people who will go to caucuses too. And that's the difference about the Iowa system. You don't just vote, you have to actually show up. And not everyone does. So I'm curious. I think he's going to do better than expected. They say 5%. I think he'll do better than that. But anyway, according to the latest fabled Des Moines Register Caucus Eve poll, Trump 78 is at a record 48%, while Haley 51 has jumped to second place at 20%, and DeSantis at a demoralizing 16%, despite having to put all his eggs in the Iowa basket. Not that the Florida governor was conceding anything Saturday afternoon when he showed up at his West Des Moines campaign headquarters for a pep rally with 150 volunteers who supported crammed into the space. So anyway, the point is Trump's heavily leading, and she doesn't even mention Vivek, which is what's happening in the news media. Maybe they're right. Maybe he has nothing going. But it's just interesting to me. As much as I've seen his face in the last fucking week, I've seen him everywhere. So anyway, Breitbart, Iowa Democrat could crash GOP primary to boost Haley's turnout. I'll hold my nose. Yeah, that's the other thing that since the Democrats aren't really doing anything caucus-wise, there's thing that some will show up to boost Nikki Haley. And oh God, please no, no. Legal Rand Paul, we saw the Never Nikki thing. We did that on Friday, so I'm not going to go through that one, but there's an article on it. And nearly half of Iowa Trump supporters are extremely enthusiastic, a plurality of Nikki Haley backers, only mildly so. Former President Trump still maintains a strong lead in Iowa ahead of the... Okay, we already know this, that people are for Trump are really for Trump, right? And everybody else, they can be like, we'll take him, leave him, but we'll vote for whoever, whatever. And but the enthusiasm of Nikki Haley backers is not going to match the enthusiasm of Trump backers. So, article on that. American Thinker. Also, there's this article at American Thinker just talks about the surge of black support for Trump, black voters. I don't want it. They may overestimate it, but two prominent ufologists cautioned that some high polling results of Donald Trump among black voters were quirky given the smaller sample sizes in individual polls, and emphasized the importance of aggregating such polls 10 at a minimum for even a more accurate assessment. Finding no such research available, I undertook what is, I believe, the first such analysis of the cumulative data from 17 current polls with a subset of black voters, which revealed a striking, if not historical, shift in black voting preferences towards the Republican Party, and particularly to Donald Trump. Collated were notable polls from reputable sources which were excluded or included by Real Clear Politics and 538 aggregates such as Suffolk, Siena, Big Data, Fox, IT, TIP, CBS, Emerson, and Rasmussen. The aggregate of all 17 polls showed that 21.9% of black voters intend to vote for Donald Trump, with many individual polls showing Trump polling above 20%, for example. So, geez, goodness me. That's interesting. All right, I got to finish this. So just what's left. Trump's rising support about minority votes. Will it put him back in the White House? That's a good question. Interesting question there. Also, apparently there was a little bit of a dust up. Not even, it's a very minor. Not MAGA. Donald Trump finally directly attacks Vivek with a Truth Social post. Vivek started his campaign as a great supporter, the best president in generations, etc. Unfortunately, now all he does is disguise his support in the form of deceitful campaign tricks. Very sly, but a vote for Vivek is a vote for the other side. Don't get duped by this vote for Trump. Don't waste your vote. And Vivek responded to it extremely gracefully, like he's good at doing. It's interesting, but not a big deal. Ukraine rejects a ceasefire with Russia at Davos Peace Summit ahead of the World Economic Forum meeting. Now that's curious. I wish by the way, if you're familiar with Coach Red Pill, that dude's dead now. He was over in Ukraine and he was reporting on what's going on over there, and he was trying to get out because they didn't like what he was saying, and now he's dead. And they don't know if they killed him or if he just died, how he died, if they murdered him, who knows. But he doesn't like Zelensky. He thinks Zelensky's a puppet of some master, but Zelensky's a billionaire now. So he's kind of a billionaire strongman in Ukraine, and there's no more opposition parties, and they're not doing elections, and it's fucked up. And I don't know how to even say anything about that. All right. Finishing up, we knew Lloyd Austin was AOL, not AOL, AWOL, not AOL. He was AWOL for a while, but now he's still in the hospital after his cancer treatments, and there's still questions about whether or not he should still be the Secretary of Defense that are legitimate. Day of the caller, congressional leaders reach agreement to fund the government until March. Oh, yippee. No, another continuing resolution. And then there's a couple other articles that are in here. Disney promotes a kid-friendly princess marathon with dudes dressed in drag. All you need is the headline. All you need is the fucking headline. They've lost their fucking minds. Now, one of the problems, though, that this caused for Disney is a very good movie took a bath at the box office, and unfortunately it's because no one trusts Disney and Pixar anymore. So Disney's grooming syndicate latest box office humiliation is so humiliating. After shaking my head in disbelief like a cartoon character, I had to double check it. But glory be, it's true. Pixar's Soul is a 2020 title produced for wide theatrical release and thwarted by all the stupid anti-science social distancing during the pandemic. Yes, it was released on Disney Plus, the Disney grooming syndicate's money-losing streaming service. And I'm a fair man who readily acknowledges all those caveats. Still, y'all, Soul, a feature-length animated film starring a black character, was released to about 1,350 theaters over Martin Luther King Jr. 4-day holiday weekend and grossed exactly $557,000. That's terrible. That's 25% of the projected $2 million, which makes my heart sing. On Friday, Soul grossed a measly $99 per theater. Here's some context for you. When the 30-year-old Nightmare Before Christmas was released into theaters last October, the movie's everyone's seen and is just available at home as sold. It grossed $4.3 million over the first re-release of the weekend. Over the 3 weekends, it grossed $10.2 million. Soul will be lucky to cross the $2 million before the theater owners revolt over playing a movie that earns fewer ticket sales than Battlefield Earth. And that was Nightmare's third re-release. You see, parents know Disney's Nightmare Before Christmas is safe because it came before Disney decided to prey on queer and groom prepubescent children. That does not mean that Nightmare Before Christmas is empty calories. It's quite the opposite. Tim Burton's classic he produced and wrote the story, while Henry Selick directed, is filled with Burton's well-honed themes about acceptance, all of it told through a story and a world adults enjoy, at least I do, as much as children. Nightmare is challenging without ever looking to threaten your child's innocence. Now, here's the thing. Soul doesn't either. It's a really good movie, but no one trusts Disney anymore. So they're not going to see the movies. It's crazy. The only other article I had, Martin Luther King more relevant today than ever. And I think, we might have got through this one this morning. We read part of it this morning. So I'm gonna finish with that. All right, guys. Thank you for joining me this afternoon. Those who showed up, it's fantastic having you here. 30-some people on an afternoon when I don't normally stream. I'm happy about that. Be sure to share this stream. Be sure to share the show when it comes up. Hit the like button. Do that. And if you would be so kind. Yeah, 34 people, 25 likes. What the hell's going on here? Hit the like button. And if you want to sponsor the show, you can do that at pdognight.live 24 hours a day. That link will take you to where you can tip the show and keep our lights on. It pays for my cable bill every once in a while. So, which my cable internet bill. Anyway, guys, I gotta go. Thank you for being here. Special Can Asset, I see you over there. I just see you popped in. I missed you when we got here. I hope you have a wonderful evening. I'll be back in the morning, Monday through Friday, 10 o'clock Eastern, on the Morning Night Live. That's it. Gotta go. My name's Pete Dog Knight, and I'm out of here. Bye. Have a great day. I'll put the links back in the chat. Bye. Bye. Hey, this is P-Dog Night, and thank you for watching today on the P-Dog Night channel. If you have an observation or remark you'd like to make about this video or my channel, I absolutely welcome you to write it in the comment section down below. I really look forward to hearing from you. And before you go, if you like what you saw but you're not already subscribed, please make sure you hit the subscribe button and definitely click that bell that pops up afterwards so you'll be notified when I post new videos or when we go live. I broadcast my live show, The Morning Night Live, Monday through Friday at 10 o'clock Eastern, 9 o'clock Central. A special thank you to all the supporters of this channel who share our videos on social media and who make donations through Streamlabs, YouTube, Venmo, and Cash App, which are all linked in the description down below. Thanks again, and until next time, I'm P-Dog Knight, and I'm out of here.